What's going on YouTube? So even though SUVs are all the rage nowadays, some people still prefer the sleek styling and agile handling of a sedan, which is exactly why Genesis offers this G80. This of course shares many aspects with the related GV80, and even though it was just fully redesigned last year, Genesis is making some refinements. So is this the best midsize luxury sedan out there? Let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's get started here with the exterior design. Now, before we kind of talk about this, I do want to mention one of the 2022 changes, and that's the fact that there's now a sport appearance package, which will soon be available with the 3.5 turbo models. You've probably seen some pictures of it. Just add some different elements to the front end to make it look more aggressive, as well as the interior, and we look forward to hopefully sampling this early next year. But as far as this model, this is definitely the more luxury looking model. We have the 2.5 Advanced, and we've got that signature crest grille up here in the front. It is very large, goes down real deep into the lower fascia, and then you have kind of this mesh pattern that runs across the bottom. Really makes this look super fancy and prestigious, just like the G90. Now as we come over here to the headlights, again we have those signature Genesis elements. These are your quad beam full LED headlights with that split design. You have the double daytime running lights as well as turn signal indicators that go through here, but you're not going to find any fog lamps. But now let's go ahead and talk about these wheels. These of course are very eye-catching because you rarely see vehicles that have wheels that look like this. It's kind of a controversial element, but you can of course get a large variety of different wheels if it's not your style, but this is a newly available option for 2022, which looks very familiar with that fully loaded flagship G90. These are going to be measuring in at 19 inches. You do have a standard 18-inch alloy, and if you go up to the 3.5 turbo models, you can even go all the way up to a 22-inch alloy. Of course, as we pull back here, you will see those quad beam elements carry on to the turn signals on the side. And then Genesis nicely loads out the mirrors on every single version. So you have heating, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and auto dimming.
Let's go ahead and talk about the side of the G80. Now, of course, you can tell here at the side, this is a pretty long vehicle. You know, it is in the midsize segment, but it's coming in at 197 inches in length, which is about an inch longer than some of its competition. It is going to be riding on a dedicated rear drive platform, which gives you those really nice rear drive proportions at the side. And let's talk about the rear design. I am a huge fan of the way this looks. This is a beautiful sedan. So it takes a lot of the elements that you've seen out of something like a GV80 and the GV70 and kind of puts it into a sedan body style. So up here at the top, we have this chrome piece that gives it a really nice element or accent here on this black model. And then we have Genesis spelled out across the back for a nice classy touch. Then the taillights, these are going to be pretty much the same taillights you're used to seeing on Genesis products. These are the quad LED taillights. Every element in here is LED. Then if we drop down below that, you will find your reverse lights here in the middle in between the dual trapezoidal exhaust outlets. Now for your safety systems, Genesis doesn't mess around. They give you every single one of them as standard equipment, which is particularly worth noting because a lot of the Germans will separate those features out and make you pay extra for them. So that's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, auto high beams, adaptive cruise control with the highway drive assist, as well as lane keeping assist. We really appreciate you watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I promise you won't regret it. Now let's go ahead and check out the inside.
Of course, as you would expect for a luxury sedan, you do have a standard smart entry system with the Genesis key fob. Of course, you got the nice real metal buttons. You also have remote start built into the fob. And if you went for the Prestige model, that would also get you the smart park system, so you can pull into and out of parking spots with the fob. Now as you walk up to the vehicle, you will see the mirror electrically fold out as it senses your approach. And then to get inside, you can just grab behind the handle. Now, as nice as the exterior is, it's the interior that's the real story with this G80, since that's the most important part for a luxury sedan. Now, I'll go ahead and start off with the different interior color and material choices. So you have a standard leatherette seat for both the base model as well as this advanced trim level in your choice of black, beige, or maroon. If you go for the Prestige model 2.5, that's going to give you real leather. And then Nappa leather is available only on the 3.5T model. So keep that in mind when you're choosing between the two different engines. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely done. You'll notice leather over pretty much all the surfaces, including all the way up through here. We have the beautiful real metal speaker grills. It is soft touch even down here on the extreme lower portions as well as along the top. Beautiful open pore wood trim and nice metal switchgear. All four of the windows are, of course, fully automatic, and then you do have standard 3-person memory seating. Coming down here to the seats, these are the standard 12-way power adjusting seats. You can get 16-way power adjusting seats with massaging abilities if you get the Prestige. And then, like I was mentioning, this is a leatherette seat. However, it has a very realistic feel. It's still nice and soft to set in, and I do like the perforation. Like I was saying, the real important part of any luxury sedan is the cabin, and this G80 absolutely nails this aspect. So you notice fine materials from top to bottom. So we have a nice leather material that runs across the entire upper dashboard with these stitching details. As we move down, we have generous use of this open pore wood. Looks absolutely lovely going across here in one seamless piece. We have more of that wood across all this center area here. Of course, you have the leather padding along the tunnel for your knee to rest against, and everything in here just fits together absolutely perfectly, and just really oozes high quality luxury. Now start it up, put your foot on the brake, and press the button located right up there. And after you fire up the vehicle, you will be greeted with this gauge cluster on the vast majority of models. So this is a half digital, half analog. As you can see, this side is digital. The full digital 3D gauges, though, are actually just reserved for the 3.5T Prestige. That's only the very top model. All the rest of them will get this setup you see here today. Additionally, the blind view camera system, that's going to be on the 2.5T Prestige model. We don't have that on this example because it is the advanced trim level, and then you can get an optional head-up display if you choose one of the 3.5T trim levels. Now pulling back to the steering wheel, of course we have that signature and unique Genesis design, nicely leather wrapped. It will be heated on any of the models that have all-wheel drive, and as you can see, it is also power adjusting. Let's go ahead and jump into interior storage. So opening up this center console, as you can see, it does have the split design, which is typical of German vehicles usually. And looking inside of here, we do have a nice felt lining on the sides as well as the bottom, and a 12-volt outlet. But let's put it to the test. Let's get out the coupons. Here we go. Stick these in here, kind of turn them a little to the side. Looks like they're going to fit in there, no problem whatsoever. Now up in front of that, underneath of this beautiful open pore wood, we have two cup holders. Underneath of this other piece of wood is where you will find a nice storage area. Up here in the front, we have two USB ports as well. Let's go ahead and pull back here to the shifter. One of my favorite things about this cabin, I'm a big sucker for just beautiful details, and this shifter is a beautiful glass design with the knurled metal around the outside edges. Just a joy to touch. Absolutely love it. Of course, you're just going to twist over to D for drive. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. And then you twist in the opposite direction for reverse. When we go into reverse, you will notice we have the traditional backup camera. That's because you're going to have to get up to the Prestige model if you want the 360-degree camera system. But this one here does have active trajectory, and the parking sensors in the front and the rear. And then for park, just press the P right there on the top. Now, in addition to this nice shifter, we do have some real metal controls up here. This is for the infotainment system, so you can use this wheel, or it is also a touchscreen. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And then in front of that, we do have our audio controls as well. So the vast majority of the models are going to come with what we have today, and that is the 21-speaker Lexicon Quantum Logic sound system. So let's go ahead and give that a sample right now. So of course, as you would expect, the sound quality of this system is absolutely fantastic. Alright, so let's take a look next at the climate controls. So this panel up here, of course, contains your either dual zone or 3-zone automatic climate control setup. So you have a physical control to adjust your temperature right here, which I like. The rest of the things are actually located here on this touch sensitive panel. This is a very nice panel. It's very responsive. It does have capacitive touch feedback when you click onto things, so that makes it very easy to use while you're driving. You'll also notice that we have the 3-stage heated seats that are standard on all the models, and we also have 3-stage ventilated seats standard on the advanced trim and above. But anyways, let's turn our attention to this large infotainment system. So just like with other Genesis products, this is a 14.5-inch display, so very large. It has a wide orientation, so it goes across a significant portion of the dashboard. And like I was mentioning earlier, you can control it with that knob down there on the dashboard. It is also a touchscreen as well, so you can reach up here and use it if that is the more convenient option at any given time. Now, getting into the actual functionality of this system, of course you do have a built-in navigation system. That's what this looks like. It does take up the entire 14 inches, which is very nice. Additionally, you do have standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. They are of the wired connection. As we move on up here, you do have the standard auto-dimming mirror, frameless design with the HomeLink universal remotes built into it. Obviously, as a luxury vehicle, we do have full LED lighting with touch-sensitive controls right there. Nice sunglass holder. And then the vast majority of the trim levels will come with this panoramic sunroof. As you can see, the sunshade opens with a split design, which I think looks really cool. And then this front panel does open up almost entirely.
All right, guys, well, it's my pleasure to be in the second row of this G80 sedan. It is so nice. Let me just go ahead and tell you, I just sat back here for the first time like 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, oh, this is just a extremely nice rear area. Now, I have to say, it's pretty much getting close to something like an S-Class in terms of the comfort. You just have super, super comfortable rear seats back here, and the headrest is in the exact right spot. But let's go ahead and talk about some hard figures here. The space is going to be rated at 39 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom, which does place it right on par with the GV80 if you're looking to get sedan versus crossover, and it is larger than the BMW 5 Series if you're cross-shopping it with that. Behind your seating position, I'd see no issues at all. I'm looking at probably 7 inches of space between my knees and the seat back, and my feet can easily slide up under the seat. Now, this is also a luxury sedan, so you're going to also have some features. So here in the center, we are going to have standard vents, as you would expect. If we drop down below that, we also are going to have our 3-zone climate control, so we can adjust our temperatures, our fan speeds, and zones. And then you're probably like, well, where's everything else? And it's going to be right here in your center armrest. So if you fold down the center armrest, it is a really large one, and you have a trunk pass-through in here. And then as far as the features they've thrown in, we do have cup holders up here in the front. And then we're also going to have heated rear seats. That's going to be standard on the Prestige model, or if you get any of the all-wheel drive G80s. Then we also have this button right here, which will go ahead and power deploy our rear sunshade. We're also going to have side window sunshades as well. And we have an assist grip up top, as well as some LED lighting. All right, so walking up to the trunk of the G80, you do have the hands-free smart open feature. We don't have it turned on, it's inside of the system settings, but if you don't have it turned on, you can either use the button on the fob or push this really high quality button. And as you can see, it is a power trunk as well. Now, as far as the space back here, we have 13.1 cubic feet, which is less than the BMW 5 Series, but overall, I think most people are not going to be too disappointed in terms of space for a sedan like this. Is pretty much what you would expect. The only thing I will say is the opening is a little bit narrow, but it does go back quite a good distance. And I will say and remind you that you do have the trunk pass-through, so the seats do not fold for this model. Now, as far as the other features, we have a little storage area here on the left and right side. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, there is a spare tire up under there. Now your passenger seat is going to be power adjusting. It's definitely a lot of ways. You also have the 4-way lumbar support as well. And then if we pop open the glove box here, it's going to be a very luxurious glove box. I see we have LED lighting. It also has that really premium felt lining inside. And then, you know, just because it's a luxury car does not mean it's immune to the coupons, and they do fit in there perfectly fine. So no issues there. And then up top, we have a sun visor, we have LED lighting, a mirror, and we can also detach the visor as well as extend it out.
Right, so that touched us up to 60 before the red light.
Wow.
Caused us to slow down, but you know, really nice power out of this. You know, I think we mentioned it at the beginning of the video, but if you didn't realize, up until this point, this actually comes with the base engine on this specific example, the 2.5 turbo.
That's quick.
Yeah. It definitely has plenty of power, really a quick engine. 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque to be specific. So yeah, like I said, that's really nice power and definitely in line with what the rivals offer with their base motors for this segment of vehicle. And of course, you can also get the 3.5 twin-turbo V6 engine if you want that. As well.
That has 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. So you're really, really looking at a lot of power for that model. But what I will say is that the 2.5 turbo, I've been very impressed by it in all the Genesis applications because it has a lot of power, as we know. If you don't follow the channel, we have a Sonata inline, which actually has the same 2.5 turbo as what's in this G80. But the difference here that I'm really noticing is just the level of refinement. They've worked a lot on the tuning of it for the specific Genesis application, and this in the V80 as well, just making it very, very smooth and refined, and it doesn't have very much noise at all, so it definitely has that luxury experience. You don't have to upgrade to the V6 if you want a quiet and refined powertrain, because this one still is very quiet and refined.
And as far as the transmission is concerned, we do have an 8-speed automatic transmission. As you can see, you know, when you get after it, it actually can shift pretty quick and in a pretty sporty way. But of course, in a vehicle like this, most of the time you're just going to be accelerating pretty casually in a more relaxed demeanor. And when you do that, it just kind of blends into the background.
It's tuned a lot for comfort, for sure.
Right, and as a rear drive based vehicle, and then you also have all-wheel drive, which this specific example does have.
Yeah, and you know, I do want to just go ahead and mention the ride quality for the G80 now that we're just cruising along here. This is really what this vehicle is designed for is highway cruising, just to be comfortable. This is not really meant to be sporty. You can get the G70 if you want something a little bit more sporty, and it is just so comfortable. The seats are absolutely fantastic, and also just like the ride quality in general is really, really good. It soaks up the bumps. It's really quiet in here. Comparing it to a 5 Series, it might be a little louder in here. I'm trying to remember when we tested out the 5 Series how it was. That was a really awesome experience as well, but this is very close. And let's go ahead and get a sound level reading so we can numerically compare. Really good, 54.7. That's some of the lowest readings that we can get. That's just one little rung above something like an S-Class and a 7 Series type of noise level.
Yeah. And if you're, looking to find like the most comfortable example of this model, I think this would be a really good trim level to get this advanced with the 19-inch wheels. They're not super large, which makes the ride, like Mason was saying, very compliant and comfortable. Or you can go up the pricing strategy to the 3.5 turbo models, and those come with the adaptive dampers. So they'll have larger wheels, but they'll have the adaptive dampers to kind of offset it.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and discuss the airball and slam dunk for today. So Drew will kick us off with our slam dunk, and then I'll talk about the airball.
So for the slam dunk, I think it's got to be just the beautiful details inside of this cabin. It really just makes it feel like a special place. I feel like a complaint I see a lot about rivals of this vehicle are just that they're very similar to the lower priced and higher priced versions. It's kind of the same design, different sizes. This feels like, really unique product that stands out in this segment.
Yeah. And our airball is also going to be something in this cabin, but those the gauge cluster, it really should be full digital. Our Sonata Inline has full digital gauge cluster, and that's a $35,000 product, and a ton of Hyundai products have digital gauge clusters, and it's only offered on the highest end trim level of this G80. So the vast majority of them won't have it, and you also don't have a head-up display. And let's go ahead and discuss the fuel economy. So if you go for a 2.5 turbo model, it's going to be 25 or 26 miles a gallon combined, depending on if you get rear drive or all-wheel drive. And then if you go for the 3.5 twin turbo, that's going to be 20 miles a gallon combined. That is available only in all-wheel drive. And you do have to use premium fuel, and that is right in line with the German competition. And you already know what's up. This is a Genesis product, so for the pricing, you are going to have a very good value in the G80. So you're going to start at $48,900 for the base 2.5 turbo rear drive model, and then if you go all the way up to the 3.5 twin turbo all-wheel drive, gosh, that's a tongue twister. It's almost got me 3 or 4 times. $59,150. This one, as equipped, is the 2.5 turbo with all-wheel drive, the advanced model, plus our destination charge, as well as a few accessories, gives us a grand total of $57,800.
But overall, I have to say, Genesis has really nailed this G80. I expected to be impressed by this because with all the extensive time we've spent with the GV80, we were very impressed by that, and I figured that same attitude and attention to detail would carry on to this model, and indeed it has. This is really, like I said, just an excellent overall product, really nails the essential parts, and then even gets the special details right.
Well guys, that's all for our in-depth review of the 2022 Genesis G80 Advanced. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed watching it, or hopefully both, please hit that subscribe button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing, and all it's going to do is give you a few notifications on our most recent content if you tap that notification bell. So please do both of those things, and also follow us on our other social medias because we have a lot of other content on there that you might also be interested in. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.